Simran Singh here on the Revel Road, and we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm really excited because every step of the way I get to interview amazing people that are being rebels in their own life, people that are striking out, following their passions and their dreams, and inspiring other people. Today's topic is really important because it's about movement, it's about the body, it's about how we are supposed to embody ourselves in this physical plane so that we actually lift up into those higher spiritual states that we desire to have. So many people think that it's all about meditation, about lifting up into the ethers, but in actuality, that can be another form of escape if we've not fully anchored into the body. My guest today is David Stewart, and he is an expert at ecstatic dance and different types of movement techniques. And I'm really excited to talk to him about all of this because I believe we are timeless, boundless beings that are meant to be living here in ecstasy. So welcome, David.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to have you and also to talk about this free form of dance, because I think one of the problems with individuals is we're so locked up in our bodies, or we're not even in our bodies. So talk a little bit about what that does, how we are not free in our lives if we're not free in our bodies.
The body is a miraculous teacher and friend, confidant, and mirror. All of these things. It's an area of vast exploration and support. All of those things together. To put attention in the body, to spend time, to put one's curiosity into motion, into just sensation itself, brings a different kind of experience, a different kind of awareness. It increases awareness because our body is always in touch with our awareness. It's always part of our awareness field. And what we are thinking about and just following along with every day is usually just a fragment of that.
So let's back up a second, because you talked about motion, you talked about attention, you talked about sensation. And most of us, especially in Western society, we're trying to live from intention, which really is from up here, more so than in here. And we're also living more statically. So when we place our lives more about attention rather than intention, can you talk about what that distinction does, especially in relation to dance?
Yeah, both are absolutely necessary. The intention of a movement practice. I'm with Conscious Dance Minneapolis, and we have a movement practice where the intention of the group is to pay close attention to what that moment's sensations are, and what the curiosities are, what the irritations are, whatever's going on perceptually, and to follow that and let that express through movement.
And that intention then, is that kind of a container? Is that a sacred space almost that's created before the movement starts, so that whether it is the irritation or the ecstasy that unfolds through that process, that people are really present to it?
Yeah. What we found is that when three or more are gathered, and you have that intention, it's two or more are gathered, right? That's the phrase. Wherever anybody's gathered, with themselves even, you have the intention of the gathering itself, which is to pay close attention, which is to look for compassion and act with kindness toward whatever is noticed. And then the attention, as you say, is to just keep finding, oh, what did I find now? What did I find now? What did I find now? And coming into this interview, there's constant, all of these sensations, and just sitting here, there's all these sensations going on. It's so interesting that the mind expects balance and peace and everything to be static and still. And one time, okay, now I got it. People say I got it a lot, as if, okay, now we're done. It's never done. The dance practice helps me remember that there's always another move. There's always another unfolding. There's always another depth of surrender.
So I think that one challenge that a lot of people have is that constant chatter, or that inability to stop and be still. And so there's even an angst in, I've got to be still, I've got to meditate, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. is this type of dance form a meditation in itself, where the movement and the attention allows an individual to all of a sudden be so focused on themselves that the chatter disappears and the awareness actually unfolds.
The awareness gets amplified, definitely, and it's turning the attention, which is an activity of the mind, to pay attention to something that's alive. I love the phrase of what is alive in me right now, which comes from the non-violent communication studies, and that is the direction that we look. Is, you know, what is alive in me right now, and again, how does that express in movement rather than maybe in words or in decisions or what have you.
So a lot of people, when they get into a group and it's something that's free form as dance, they get insecure, or they say, well, everyone's looking at me, or I don't even know how to move my body. How do people get beyond that idea of it's got to be perfect, it's got to be a certain way, that I can be free enough to really discover my body instead of thinking I have to control and move my body?
Part of it is the encouragement of the environment. When you have dancers there who are there to practice, and by the way, you did me a favor by calling me an expert at the beginning, but it's also, I would say, very misleading, because I'm a practitioner, and I come back to the practice because it's so necessary, and it's something that just keeps deepening and opening and being more mystery. Rather than solving the mystery, it's deepening the mystery. And so to invite other people into that space where practitioners have been working that means that the other people feel, because we're such perceptual beings, and we can feel the permission in that to just find another way of moving, and they know that people aren't staring at them, aren't judging them, aren't really paying attention to them in that sort of thinking ego ideal way, but the awareness, they're welcomed into the awareness of it, which is very encouraging, even for people who feel like they're not sure how to move, or that they have all sorts of constricting ideas about what their movement is.
So this sounds as if we are individual and one. We're the drop of water and we're the entire pond when we're in this type of conscious dance experience.
That is what happens very much, is that it's a co-created experience. And we find that the people who are there at that time, the DJ who is there at that time, all of that comes together. And even if it seems very unsatisfying, that in itself is a perfection of it. And that is in itself is a complete experience that we just then move on with. But to regard it as, it needs to be a certain way or whatever, is already missing something about the experience that's right here with us.
And then there's another step that's actually a deeply integrative portion of this, a question and answer or an inquiry that takes place with conscious dance. Speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, what happens through the arc of the practice is that at the end we reach a very peaceful place. It's that through a lot of action and a lot of movement and a lot of exertion, because you get to really exert to your fullest extent, as much as you want to, the body and the whole system naturally calms down and just wants to rest and be in a very still and peaceful state. Okay, and when you have a whole room that's gone through this together and transitioned into this opening that doesn't need to go anywhere or do anything, it's beyond words. For one thing, it's just this level of acceptance and abiding together, and that is a key part of it, and it's hard to even know what words to use there. So we bring words in, we reintroduce language at the end, carefully, and as consciously as we can, and that's different every time too.
It's going to be a different experience every time for an individual because it's the unknown.
Yes.
And they're going to discover different emotions, different expressions, different connections through the entire process within and without.
Yes.
So I want you to lead them with any parting words before we add the clip.
All right.
Of the conscious dance.
Whatever you're noticing right now has a movement to it. What we're offering is a way to let that movement have a place, have a space, have the encouragement of the group, the music, and the whole environment to become more of itself.
Beautiful. We are energy, light, sound, and color, and we are meant to be constantly moving. If your life is not moving, it's because probably you are not moving. If you are not connecting, it is because you're not connecting within and also not allowing yourself to connect without. It's time for your soul to sing its song, to dance its dance, to be who it's supposed to be. It's time to be a rebel in your own life. In love, of love, with love, and as love. I'm Simran with David Stewart. It's time to come.